Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Sunday. It's Daryl here. It is bright and freaking early, man. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, this morning, I've already downloaded a video this morning. I made it yesterday about Cape Middleton, and I did not realize this. Every year, this year in 2024 in America, in the U.S., 2 million people will be diagnosed with cancer. So that's what the video I'm downloading. I'm already downloading that as we speak. I came across another article that kind of grabbed my attention and made me start thinking about my own recovery. It's about Tiffany Haddish. I've got there's a lot of movies I've watched with her in it. She's one of my favorite. I don't know if I call her my favorite actresses, but favorite comedians, favorite personalities in a movie. And if you remember, maybe about 5-6 months ago, she was arrested in LA for, I think she was arrested for DWI. She was found asleep in her car in LA. The story will be down below. And this story's on TMZ today about her court order that she has to be clean and sober. She's being tested, and she's been clean and nothing, because I guess she smokes weed and she drinks a little. She doesn't. She says she doesn't have a problem, or she says it hasn't been hard for her because it's not really her thing. But if it wasn't court ordered, she'd be drinking and smoking, and I don't know. That's what she's admitted to. I don't know if there's anything else. And I started thinking about this. I started thinking about my own recovery. So that's what this video is about. Because I'm going to talk about some pretty specific graphic usage here, and I'm not glorifying anything. This is I just want to share with you guys my mindset and how it changed with recovery. When I first, looking back over my entire life, I started drinking when I was probably about 14 or 15 years old. And I remember I had a girlfriend all through high school, this one same girl from my neighborhood, my first love. I went to the prom with her and everything like that. And we'd go out every weekend. And this was when I was 15, 16, 17, 18. And I remember every single weekend. I wasn't even legal. I wasn't old enough to go into a package store and get alcohol, but there was always a package store that I could go into because I was a big guy. And I drank every single weekend, without fail. If I didn't go out with my girlfriend, I would go out with my friends, and I'd drink even more and smoke weed every single weekend. And I remember this one conversation, that I had with my girl, and it came up that whenever we did anything, we drank. Whenever we were romantic, we would drink. And looking now at 58 years old, when I first got clean and sober, at 40 years old, I didn't have a relationship for the first 7 years I was clean and sober. And I look back over my life, and I had never, ever been intimate with a woman without alcohol or some other substance. And it was terrifying for me. I couldn't, back when I was using, I could not imagine how a wife and a husband had a daily, weekly relationship without drinking and using. I thought it'd be so boring or weird. And look, I'm not going to get graphic, but I'm going to tell you this. Honestly, I found out what I was missing. It's a big lie. It's a big lie about the whole sex, drugs thing. It was better. It's been so much better. I feel so more. I'm not going to get graphic, but I was missing out my whole life. Okay, so Tiffany, she talks about not using for 3 months, and because it's court ordered. And I started thinking about this, about my own recovery, and I couldn't stop using even after even when the worst things happened, when I got arrested for possession of crack cocaine. And I talked about that in a video. There was a stakeout, and my dealer I was leaning in the window, buying rock, and I saw a car full of four cops pull up, undercover cops pull up, and I got arrested for attempted possession. I didn't stop using then. I used that day, used the next day. I got fired from my job, Teamster truck driving job. Great job. They gave me 2 weeks severance. I spent it all on crack, smoked it all in one night. You know, nothing could get me to stop. And looking back, I see how the problem got big, going all the way back to when I was 14. You know, I could not stop. I could not stop. Nothing would, I would use, the more trouble I got in, the more I would use. Until I got into the methadone maintenance program. Now, I know a lot of people have, you know, issues with methadone. And to be honest with you guys, I didn't, you know, for the longest time, I refused it because I was in and out of detoxes and rehabs over 13 times. 13 times. And it got to the point where the doctor said, look, next time you come back, I was every 3 months, I'd go into a detox and a rehab. And the doctor said, look, next time next time we're not taking you in. You know, you come to the emergency room, we're going to turn you away. And it's like, well, you can't do that. You know, he said, Daryl, it's obviously not working. You know, you know, 13 times, you know, something, we're not going to keep doing something, you know, we're not going to keep doing something that's not working. You know, and that scared me. And that got me to go to the methadone maintenance program. And I'll be honest, when I first started that methadone maintenance program, I knew I was going to get tested. At first, it was every week. It was a urine every single week. And at first, they weren't adamant about quitting, you know, because they knew it would take time. So, you know, my urines would come back dirty every week, and they wouldn't make a big deal out of it until about the second month. And then I remember my counselor saying, Daryl, you know, and I had this one moment where all of a sudden I was getting the methadone, right? And methadone blocks heroin. It stops it from working. And for 2 months, I would get the methadone, then I would go down and buy a half bundle, that's 5 bags of heroin, for $35. And I would do that every day, even though I knew that it wasn't going to work, that I was just throwing away $35. I was risking getting arrested. I was doing this, but I kept doing it every single day for like 60 days. I would still go buy it. Why? Because I was an addict. You know, and then so I stopped buying it. You know, I was like, this is ridiculous. And I got this moment of clarity where I was like, you know, I actually feel good, you know, and I was like, I could do this. You know, I could see myself, for the first time in my life, I realized I could see myself getting clean and sober. The big problem then became the crack cocaine. The drinking was no problem. I quit the heroin, but the crack cocaine, that's what I had been using since I was 20 years old. I had been using that for 20 years of my life, for 2 decades, like every day, every week. Not more, like I'd say at least 4 to 5 times a week minimum. And I got it. This is what I did when you're in methadone maintenance, they give you, you know, there's a reward. You know, a reward system. They would give you take-homes. Like you get a bottle to take home after you were clean for like a month. You get 1 bottle. So you wouldn't have to go to the clinic that day. You know, and that was the reward system. So, you know, you get a little more freedom. And that was the incentive for getting clean. And, you know, nobody likes to go to the methadone. Believe me, going there, you know, the worst thing is the other patients, because everybody's just so angry and impatient there, from what I remember. And you know, it was nice to get a bottle to take home, so you wouldn't have to, you know, so it was a good incentive. And for the first, I don't know, for a while after that, I would still try to sneak, like every week or every couple of weeks, I would try to take just 1 day where I would sneak off and use a little crack. You know, I'd save up a little money, and then one day I would go use by myself, and I prayed there wouldn't be a urine the next day, and sure enough, I'd get a random urine the next day, and I'd get caught. And you know, I would get I'd get a take home, and then I'd lose it. I'd get another take home, then I'd lose it. And eventually, it was hard for me. I remember praying every day, please God, help me to have the strength not to use crack cocaine today. I remember, as a matter of fact, it's still part of my prayers, even though I haven't used crack cocaine in 17 and a half years. It's still a part of my prayers, my routine of prayers I say every morning. You know, please God, let me have the strength not to use today, especially crack cocaine. I still say that every day. 17 and a half years I haven't used. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So, you know, I looked at Tiffany Haddish. You know, at first I didn't think that there was, you know, I wasn't arrested, so I wasn't forced to be clean and sober. So I was, you know, it got me thinking, did I do that on my own? You know, did I get clean and sober on my own? And I really can't say, you know, I had an incentive, and that was the methadone maintenance program. You know, the urines and the checks on me every week is what got me clean. If it wasn't for that, honestly, if it wasn't for the methadone maintenance program, I don't think I'd be here today. Since I've been clean and sober for the last 17 and a half years, I've probably lost at least 10 of the people. At least over 3/4 of the people that I used to use with are no longer on this earth, and they passed away from using. You know, it blows my mind. You know, just recently, one of the girls I dated in high school passed away from alcohol. It just all her organs shut down. She was 56 years old from alcohol, from alcoholism. She just passed away, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for methadone maintenance. It saved my life. All right, like I said, the link will be down below for Tiffany Haddish and the little story about her being clean and sober. Congratulations to Tiffany Haddish for being clean and sober for 3 months. Recovery is possible. I'll be back later with another video. You guys have a good Sunday.